Welcome to
Ping
Pong
Philosophy
with
Barbara Vetter.
Barbara Vetter is professor for theoretical philosophy at the Freie Universität Berlin. You can learn more about her and her work in the description down below.
Welcome to the podcast, Barbara. Happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm gonna jump straight ahead.
Sure.
So, what is a philosophical position or idea you'd wish it were true, but in your view, sadly, it's not?
Took me a while to come up with something, which probably tells you that I'm a philosopher prone to wishful thinking, because most of the things that I hope are true, I have found ways of defending. But I think one thing that would be really nice if it were true was the thing that Descartes argued for in the Meditations, not quite dualism, but sort of dualism, namely the immortality of the soul. That would be really nice, but I don't actually believe it's true.
Okay. Well, yeah, it would be very nice. Sadly, it's not. But so this you wish it were true, but what have you defended forever? And you said I will defend this until my last day. What's a philosophical position that you have cherished and say, I can defend this, I can talk 1 hour about this and be happy to still talk after that?
Well, the view that all possibility is ultimately grounded, anchored, somehow located in the objects of this world. That's a view that I've defended for 15 years at least. And I still think it's true, and I'm still very attached to it.
Right. And what you mean this is that possibility is physical?
It's mostly a reaction to the sort of long time standard view that possibility is a matter of truth in some possible world. And my initial reaction was, well, that can't be true because possibilities matter. You know, we regret that we haven't taken a possibility. We choose between possibilities. It's not possible worlds, it's something really this worldly. And so the way I like to think about it is that possibilities are a matter of, the abilities we have to act in various ways, the dispositions we have to react in various ways, and obviously not just we, but inanimate objects as well. So the possibilities themselves aren't sort of physical things, obviously, but they're properties of objects, many of which, maybe all of which, who knows, are physical. So in that sense, yes.
Okay, thank you. Now I want to change a little bit. So, what did you recently change your mind on?
Well, a minor detail of the view I just explained to you. In fact, just now at the conference where we're meeting, I was talking about this.
This is in the last 48 hours this happened, so...
Yes. Well, no, I changed my mind a little while ago, but I gave a talk about it yesterday. So, as I said, I think that possibility is a matter of things like you and me having various abilities, potentials, and powers. And I used to think that any of these abilities, dispositions, powers immediately gives rise to a possibility. But there's one problem for this, which I've been struggling with for about 10 years, and I never came to a solution. It was brought up to me by a colleague also in Germany, Ralf Busse, and we finally published a paper setting out the problem. And so that problem made me change my mind about how exactly my view should go, which is that not every power, ability, and so on gives rise to a possibility, but you need to put them all together to make sure that nothing interferes. It's a minor change, but it's still a change in my view.
Were you happy to solve the issue at last?
Well, I don't know. It's still a work in progress.
Okay, very nice. So this was what you think, right? This first 3 questions. Now I want to talk to something about you as an educator also. So what text, and this is text in a broad sense of the word,
okay.
Do you think all philosophy students should read?
It's really difficult to point to just one text, but I'm just going to give you my favorite philosopher who I think everybody should have read at some point if they study philosophy, and that's Aristotle.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, you might read the Nicomachean Ethics, you might read On the Soul, De Anima, you might read the Physics, but I think every philosopher should have read some Aristotle.
Don't worry. The podcast is classics friendly, so yeah, it's good that you bring Aristotle in general in text. But if you had to choose one
for all my students,
Yeah, like they take your class in Berlin and
Oh,
then
okay.
say, okay, here we're gonna read this one first week. Come with this read.
Well, then I'd probably go for something more contemporary.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what I usually teach, and then
Alright.
probably the one thing I would want them to read is Naming and Necessity.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
That's, I mean, also a classic, but
Yeah. In a
different kind of classic.
A couple of centuries later.
Well, that's what I want my students to read, so they can then read the other things I want to discuss with them.
Okay. So, I mean, Sol Kripke passed
Yeah.
away recently.
Yes.
But can you tell me who is your favorite living philosopher?
Yeah, again, sorry, I keep answering your questions by saying there's not just one. I mean, if I really had to pick one, then for partly personal reasons, I'd go for Tim Williamson,
Oh.
who was my doctoral supervisor many years ago. And he's a brilliant philosopher. I love his combination of rigor and common sense, although I often disagree with what he says. And so, in some sense, I think I'd go for Tim Williamson. If you're asking who I really enjoy reading these days, I'd probably be citing people who work in other areas. People in philosophy of action like Helen Stewart or Michael Bratman, people like that. But there it would be very difficult to pick one favorite.
No, it's all right. So, what is an area outside philosophy that you think philosophers should engage with more?
Okay, so here I do have one answer, although it's a somewhat interdisciplinary area that I'm thinking of. And that's anthropology and developmental psychology and these kinds of sciences that study how we've come to think the way we think. And thereby, I think in many ways have interesting things to say for philosophy, but also are just sometimes very helpful to recognize the contingency of some of the ways in which we think. These are areas that philosophers are engaging with and have been engaging with, but I think we could do that more, and we could have started doing it earlier.
Okay.
So I think these are really important and interesting areas. Also very easy to engage with because many of the people working in those areas are actually very interested in philosophy.
Okay. Well, thank you. I like it that here I've had answers that go full on and study hard sciences. Hard sciences, please. Or people that said like, no, you should go a little bit more anthropology, sociology. So it's a 50-50, I'll say right now. Thank you for contributing for the humanities and social
I'm
sciences.
thinking of it as a science, right? And developmental psychologists have to do a lot of statistics, and it's, I wouldn't classify it as humanities.
Oh.
Not that I have any problem with humanities, but I mean,
Oh.
these people are clearly scientists, the people I'm thinking of.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. It's my conception of anthropology, which begs that I should.
I was thinking
engage.
empirical anthropology, so people who sort of study the development of humans, people like Michael Tomasello who think about what makes human societies distinct from I don't know, chimpanzees, what's sort of so different about us. And those people often do interact with, people who study primates and people who study infants. And so that's the kind of area I'm thinking of. So it's not physics, but it's also not humanities.
Okay, no.
And one of the beauties of that is you can actually read it as a philosopher. I wish I could engage more with physics, but I don't have the training.
Yeah. Well, thank you for this clarification. So, some people have a hard time recalling when this first happened to them. But when was the first time you included text written by you in a course you taught?
This is a little embarrassing, but it was pretty much the first course I taught after my PhD. Though I should say it was a graduate class on the very topic of my PhD, and it was really a way of trying out my text on very clever grad students. But yeah, pretty much my first class out of the PhD. Not very much since, but yeah.
Now, just a little bit of two questions of your opinion as a professional philosopher. But which country or institution do you think has the best academic calendar? And I'm interested in your perspective because you're now in Germany, but you were in the UK for a while.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of UK academic calendar fans versus the German one. So if you could settle this for us in 10 seconds, it would be great.
Yeah, I'd like some mix. What I like about the German calendar, that contrasts more with the American than the UK calendar, I think, is that we start in mid-October and not sort of September, because September is always this blissful month where you can actually do your own work. The bad thing about the German calendar is we go on in the summer until mid-July when everybody else is already on a break. And we have very long semesters by the end of which you're just exhausted and can't do very much anymore. So some mix between the two, I think, would be the best.
Yeah, great. And also, like, conference season is ending soon. And but do you think or that there is a particular workshop, conference or place that you really like to go for academic reasons?
Many. I couldn't think of a particular institution or place. I know what makes for a good workshop in my mind, but I've been to lots of good workshops all around the world. And just so long as they're organized in such a way that people actually engage with each other, I'm happy for any institution to organize it.
Okay.
Sorry. I wish I had a more interesting answer.
You have given plenty already, don't worry. And I want to end this like with my last question for you. I have you here, so I have to ask this. So, but you are famous for your work on, modal metaphysics, possibility, but you also have applied this to the notion, and you have talked about this a little bit here and there, during the interview, about the notion of human ability.
Yes.
So why do you think human abilities are an important philosophical subject?
Many reasons. How long do we have?
Settle that in 1 minute, please.
I actually think that my interest in modality has always been somewhat fueled by this interest in the more human side of things, in abilities. As I said, I objected to possible worlds. Beautiful tool for modal semantics, but don't seem to capture the kind of concern that drives us to think about possibility. So in a sense, I've really just sort of come to where I've always wanted to be in thinking about human abilities. That's about me. Why are these interesting topics? Well, pretty much anything that's interesting and specific about us humans has something to do with the abilities we have. So it's just sort of a general label for thinking about all kinds of human concerns, issues, thinking about action and knowledge and the relation between the two. In practical matters, in the project on human abilities that I run, we've thought a lot about talent and how to deal with, sort of how to understand talent, how to deal with that. So you get into very important normative questions by thinking about this. It's also a very nice topic to engage systematically with the history of philosophy, because, of course, an ability, a power, a potentiality, that was very, very important bunch of concepts for a very long time in the Aristotelian tradition, and then early modern philosophers sort of said, that's all rubbish, let's give up on it. But they didn't really, because they kept researching the faculties of the human mind. And so one of the things I really like to do is interact with historians of philosophy to make sure that we don't keep reinventing the wheel. And actually, I've found this a very fruitful topic on which to interact with historians of philosophy from all kinds of periods. So I think that's another benefit of the topic.
Well, thank you very much. That was a great way to answer the question. I know it was a hard question, but I think this brings it to a close. So thank you very much for being here. You had a wonderful talk already here at CIFA, and so I wish you safe travels back home.
Thank you.
And I hope to catch you in the next one.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello there, I'm Pablo. I'm the host of Ping Pong Philosophy. Thank you for watching or listening until the end. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. Remember that you can like and subscribe to keep updated with everything we do here. Until next time.